Hello my fellow YouTube subscribers and first-time subscribers coming to my channel. Welcome to another exciting episode of Fireside Chats with Ren, episode 2 today. Decided to wear a ridiculous hat, as you can see. I think as a recurring theme, I'm going to wear ridiculous hats, and I wanted to wear a fisherman hat today, so hopefully that's totally awesome. Got some really fun topics for today. It's actually more like two topics, but we'll consider one because it's kind of combined. Today's lovely topic, with my lovely sheets of paper right here, will be about the idol industry in Japan, as well as friendship. Now, this is an interesting topic because it's always been something I've kind of had an opinion about, and I want to talk about it a little bit. So let's talk about the idol industry, and then we'll get a little more into detail of what I think about the idol industry and how I think it's actually operated. So, first of all, for those of you who are unaware of what the idol industry is in Japan, idols are essentially girls, although they can be guys, but for the most part, and for the purpose of this episode, we'll just talk about girls groups, are a group of girls, or singular girls, usually 2 to 9, however many you really want in your group, who sing pop songs, which are usually related to love and friendship, joy, happiness, in terms of how their lyrics are run. And essentially an idol group is you getting hired with a managing company, and then that company forms a group out of you, and you have an image for how you design yourself with costumes and how you go about performing. Now, in Japan, idol groups do exist in real life, and most of them are actually local groups in each district of Japan. So you have one for Sapporo, you have one for, the Tokyo area, but the Tokyo area is divided into each district, so you have like Kanda idol group, a Okachimachi idol group, a Chiba idol group, a Kyoto idol group, all the little districts within the major wards. I'm so bad at running with Japanese street systems, so I'm really sorry. But yeah, so you get these idol groups, which are a group of girls that form together, and usually at a local school, usually at high school, sometimes middle school, and they just kind of perform. So it's kind of like a club, right? It's like a group of girls forming at your high school into a little singing group that kind of dresses up with costumes, does dance moves, and then sings songs. And usually these songs' lyrics are about love and friendship and happiness, really awesome stuff, right? This is how idol groups are in Japan. And it's how idol groups are depicted in the 2D world as well, which we'll get into those a little bit later. But probably one of the biggest idol groups that you may have heard of, or may be familiar with, would be a KB48. Now, I don't want you to confuse idol groups with girls groups, because groups like the Spice Girls, groups like Girls' Generation, which come from Korea, those are girls' band groups. Those aren't idol groups. Idol groups are specific in that they don't do like music videos. I mean, they can. They do like original, OVAs. Not OVAs. Yeah, OVAs. What's the word I'm looking for? AMVs. Animated music video. No, it's not an animated music video. It's not is it a music? Okay, just call it a music video, right? I know there's a name for it. I can't think of it. Anyways, music video. And in these music videos, they basically perform and dance, and they can do that for idol groups as well. But the difference here is that a girls' band group is usually, a group that they formed and they operate, and they get a manager, and then they get songs written and they write their own songs and stuff. An idol group is going under one manager or one group of managers, and then all these people are kind of like free agents, and they hire and make this whole like group of idols, right? And there's all these competitions for them. They're usually all underground, and it's everybody loves idols, right? And they're really fun. Cool. Well, it's not so cool, because let me tell you a little bit more about the idol industry when it comes to Japan. And I know this because of people I've talked to who are otaku, or who are into the idol scene, both foreigners and Japanese people who could speak English. And I've also kind of just looked at it in real life and the research that's done in it and seen how kind of ridiculous it is. Let's talk a little bit about idol groups. Idol groups specifically. Now, I'm going to put aside groups like Love Live and the Idol Master and things like that. Let's just put that aside. That is something completely different, which I'll get into a little bit later, in terms of how idol groups are run. Let's just talk about the local groups that represent people's schools or districts or areas and how they operate. Usually to be an idol, you need to be ages, and I could be wrong about these ages 16 to 22, I think the age is. Once you reach past the 22 age, you end up having to be kicked out of the group. A KB48 is this way. I think it's 22 is the age group. And essentially, you join this group, usually at an age. Most people in a KB48 are around age 19 to 20, I think. So you usually do it for like 2 years or something. But there are some people, like I said, who can be in middle school, and they're usually 16, 22, things like that. So you have these idol groups. And what they do is they get songs written for them, and they perform these songs and choreograph it and practice and train and get fit and basically dance and sing. Now, the issue with how idol groups run in Japan is that I'm going to say basically how I feel about idolism in Japan. Idolism and idol groups in Japan are just a form of prostitution for young girls. I'll say that again. Idolism in Japan and the idol industry is basically a form of prostitution where you get pimped out and perform for certain people. The idol industry is very cutthroat. I've looked at some of the fans in there, and they are extremely diehard. If you are not a true otaku, they will just beat you up and bash you down for, and I don't mean like physically beat you up, but like just literally beat up your self-esteem and how you view the idol industry. Let's go into a little more detail what I mean about why idolism is prostitution, essentially. So, when you think of the idol industry, you think of, happy songs, bunch of girls, and that is true for the most part. Excuse me. I need to sneeze. Bless me. Okay, so the idol industry is essentially, it is a good thing, right? It is exciting. These girls do something that they want to do with their lives. They perform, and it's fantastic. Here's the back behind the scenes issue with that, though. In the idol industry, in order to be popular, you have to just be popular with the fans. Sadly, fans for idol groups are usually grown adult males, which range from ages their early 20s to their 30s to sometimes their 40s. There are women that enjoy idols too, but for the most part, it is a bunch of grown males. And of course, there are doujinshi circles that draw porn of these idol groups as well. Yes, they do. They animate these groups into animation, and they draw them. It's Japan. What do you expect, right? First of all, this is completely unacceptable in my book. When you're an idol, you are literally a slave to the managing company that you are run with, right? If you are popular, you don't need to be talented in singing in idol groups. All that matters is that your image is popular and that people appreciate you. If any of you have watched Love Live, Yazawa Nico, one of the characters in the show, states it quite well, actually. She does say, you have to know what the audience, they need to love you. You need to have some kind of catchy imagery. I remember when the Muse group was first starting out and I watched Love Live, they were very, they didn't really have an image, and it's like, oh, you need to smile. You need to have a signature thing that people can associate with, the Nico Nico Ni that Nico always does, right, in the show. Garbage character, by the way. But she does the Nico Nico Ni in the show all the time, right? And basically, that's her signature thing. And this is the same thing with idol groups. You need to stand out above every other idol group in there because there's so many. And talent means nothing. Singing talent means absolutely nothing when it comes to the idol industry. All that matters is that you are basically popular. When you are in the prostitution industry, it's the same way. If you're attractive, you get customers. If you get customers, you're popular, right? Doesn't matter how good you are at sex. I've never really delved into the prostitution industry, so I could be completely wrong about this. I'm just taking a guess. But it's kind of like that in that sense, right? And you're thinking, Brad, you're crazy, just because, talent doesn't mean anything. And, well, here's the thing. These girls' self-esteem, because, first of all, they are teenagers. They are still growing teenagers going through parts of puberty at these ages, right? 16 to 19, you're thinking, okay, they're kind of slowing down on puberty. It's kind of stopping, right? No, these girls are still going through a traumatizing experience of high school. I remember everyone has gone through high school, and they've all had their, was it bad, was it good? And these girls are so young that when they get exposed to this kind of stuff where, it's like, you're not popular, the fans don't like you, you're basically getting kicked to the curb, we're just replacing you and putting somebody else in, right? It's really sad. Not only this, but idols are restricted from doing anything. The idol cannot date anybody. We'll talk about females. They can't date guys. They can't date anybody. They can't be in a romantic relationship or any kind of relationship for that matter, because for the viewers, they have to be pure. They have to be the pure maiden. That's the virgin, right? The Virgin Mary of the group. They cannot be, because these fans want these fans to imagine that they are basically their husbands, right? Like they love me. I'm their idol, right? Or they're my idol, sorry, and they love me too. And if they're dating anyone, then I just don't feel the magic and the connection with them. And it's sad because you think, okay, let's fit this formula. Grown males ages 20 to 40, really young females who are going through traumatizing self-esteem issues, especially with other females around them when it comes to looks. If you have two females with each other and one is more popular because she looks better, what's that going to say about the other one? They're going to feel really terrible about themselves. I would feel terrible about myself. I'd be like, I'm not attractive enough, right? And it really doesn't help, especially with the pressures of Japanese society always pushing down on you and trying to be really successful in school. And, you know, get to be that salary man, you know, helps a society. I mean, there's a reason why, you know, you hear the news about Abe, although this, I don't know the full story about this, but trying to, you know, limit the liberal arts and trying to get more of the sciences and things like that, you know, take away liberal arts courses in universities. We want people to better society. Not going into that because that's a completely different topic and I don't really want to go into politics. Essentially, this is just a really traumatizing experience for females in this setting because not only do you have to be pure, like I stated, and you can't be dating anybody, not only do you basically not need to have any talent, and it's just based solely on how popular you are, but you also need to do whatever the managing company wants. The managing company will say, okay, you may not be as popular, but we're going to sexualize you a little more, right? We want the guys to get kind of, you know, eye candy. We need the eye candy. Really short skirts, a lot of low shots, you know, sexy underwear or whatever they wear under their costume, revealing costumes, a lot of midriff, right? You're exposing these bodies, but they can't act on any of these sexual desires because they can't date anybody. So you're basically sexing these people out, but they can't do anything about it. And you know, if they aren't popular, then they basically go, okay, you're done. You're useless, right? We're getting a new person. Now, this isn't true for obviously every idol group, but this is a really big problem. And I've talked to people in Japan, and they say this is a really big problem. And it's really sad just how bad it is. And a lot of you might be watching this episode and go, but Ren, Love Life tells me otherwise. Idolmaster tells me otherwise. Yeah, because those shows are meant to show you what it's actually like. Wake Up Girls does a pretty good job of this, but everybody hates Wake Up Girls for some reason. I really don't know why. I've never watched Wake Up Girls. I've never really watched Idolmaster. I've also watched Love Life. But we'll get into that a little more later again. But as I was saying, it's really sad because it's almost like a form of prostitution. These managers pimp all these girls, and they have to act on this. You can't date anybody. There was a recent incident, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, where a member of a KB48 was dating a member of a boys band, and the group found out, and she was immediately kicked out of the group. And what ended up happening, and she was basically never allowed to become an idol ever again. And what ended up happening was she broke it off with her boyfriend, I think was the thing, because this meant more to her than her actual love with her boyfriend. She shaved her head, and she publicly apologized on YouTube. And there is a video of it up. I'm pretty sure you can still find it, unless it was taken down. And she got back in, or something like that. I really don't follow the KB48 scene, sorry guys. But essentially speaking, she got punished. And she basically made a public apology. And it's like, all because she got kicked out of a group. And it meant so much to her. And it's almost like these girls are being somewhat brainwashed into believing that this is their only life. A KB48, guess what? There are 48 members at any given time in that group. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And they're constantly replacing new members. And once you reach a certain age, you have to retire, right? But it's also just really dangerous because these fans, like, believe in you. And, you know, they just... It's such an interesting thing. And I'm not saying that there aren't really fun idol groups that probably get along, but I do hear a lot of the bad, dark things about the idol industry, especially with groups that have that face that they look like they're having a fantastic time and doing a lovely job, right? It's like when taking piano lessons. Maybe you hate piano lessons, but your mom's forcing you to do it. And you act like you're always happy when you go to recitals and everyone's proud of you, but it's like, deep down, I hate this. Right? I just really hate this. That's just an example. I never actually really took piano lessons. Kind of wish I did. I wish I could be a piano person. I'm going to take a sip of my drink. But, how you doing, Chino? Good? Look, Tippy's so cute. Look at this. This is ridiculously adorable. I refuse to ever watch this anime because I'm not going to. Because one of my friends really likes this anime. And he constantly... The second one's airing right now, isn't it? Yeah, the second one's airing right now. And then we have Momo. Super lewd costume. Woo! Okay, so... Idol industry. Pretty much prostitution in my mind. And again, you might think that's not true, Ren. It is true. I've talked to people in the underground that know about it with Japanese people too, and it pretty much is, that's how it's run, and it's really sad. So, let's talk about idol shows out there, the animation industry. We look at Love Live and we go, happy colors, happy days. Now, and we look at shows like, I'm going to use 3 examples here. I'm going to use Idolmaster and Love Live, Aikatsu and Puripara, right? Puripara, basically. Puripara and Aikatsu are meant to be more kid shows, especially Puripara. Let's talk about that. I think idolism is fantastic for kids. It's a great cartoon / kids booster and confidence booster that does a great job for any kid watching a TV show. It's like people that watch the Dora the Explorers growing up, or the Blue's Clues. I used to watch Blue's Clues all the time, by the way. Here's the mail, it never fails, it makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail. Mail! It's a letter from a friend. Oh gosh, I love that show so much. Blue Skidoo, weekend too. And he jumps in there. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent there. So it shows like that, right? Puripara does a fantastic job at this. It has boys in it that are idols. It has girls in it that are idols. Now the main protagonists are obviously going to be girls because it is more of a girls' kids show. But it does have, you know, the male like idol group and everyone. There's males in it, there's females in it, and everyone's like, yay, you know, we're all having a good time. And it's basically about, you know, chase your dreams, do what you want to do. And this is great. Teaching kids this is really awesome, right? You know, you want to teach the kids, like, you know, you could be whatever you want to be. Everyone's an idol. Let's band together. And friendship. That is absolutely perfectly acceptable for kids. And I think Puripara is fantastic at doing it. Whether you like the show or not, that's a completely different story. But, excuse me, Puripara does a great job. Aikatsu is more of a slapstick idol show. And when I talked to one of my friends, I think they said it was for kids, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it is for kids. Aikatsu literally just means idol activities, and it's kind of a fun, lighthearted show where there's a bunch of idols, and they basically do all these funky and fun activities. And again, it's all about, you know, friendship and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be a kids show, so again, this is absolutely acceptable. You know, it's just supposed to be funny, lighthearted, you know, we're going to go chop some trees down in the forest, of course. We're going to pull giant minivans or push mountains or go climb Mount Everest. These are all idle activities. And you're like, ha ha ha, you know, nobody climbed Mount Everest. It's supposed to be funny. And that's absolutely, you know, there's some ridiculous things like we jump out of airplanes and skydive. Like, yeah, I don't think idols need to do that, right? But it's definitely a fun show, and I think those 2 shows are great. Now let's talk a little bit about Love Live. And I'm going to avoid Wake Up Girls because I'll kind of mention it, but let's talk about Love Live and Idolmaster. Now, Love Live is about, again, friendship and all this stuff. But this time we focus more on the high school girls, right? I think Puripara is more middle school girls. I think even Aikatsu is more middle school girls. One thing I really, by the way, love about Puripara and Aikatsu, beautiful costume designs. I think the people that draw them, they're really cute outfits, right? Like, you can just, especially for young girls, that's awesome for them. Like, you look at those cool costume designs, and then, you know, they get really pretty with, like, you know, it's all different, you know, dresses, and it makes them want to grow up. And that really boosts kids' confidence, especially being young girls. And it really boosts kids' confidence, too, you know, like, for boys, too, because, you know, it has these boys with awesome costumes. Everyone should be happy, and it does a really good job with Puripara and a really good job with Aikatsu doing that. Now, Love Live is, you know, meant to be, you think it'd be more of a kid's show, right? But here's kind of the really odd part. Love Live is loved by that old demographic of men, essentially. Old 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and a lot of 40-year-olds. And they're diehard fans. I'm sure you all know about this. The diehard fans that just dress the hell up for Love Live. And it's essentially just really kind of eerie to think about these young men ogling these young girls, right? These fake high school girls, right? And it's one thing, like, I would go to a Love Live concert, sure. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, you know, as me being a person. Because it's a great atmosphere, and the people are really friendly. I don't want to act like all these people are weird. But these are the same people that also do, like, the doujinshi circles and draw porn of this. And, you know, most people, it's not really a big deal, right? But it's just kind of really weird because here's my main point I want to talk about. Not really the kind of eeriness of all the grown men, because Love Live only has women in it, by the way. There's like barely any men ever registered. In the anime, at least, you just don't see any men. Because I guess they go to an all-women's school, but even like on the streets, it's all females that are really into the idol industry. And it's so funny because that's completely incorrect on how the statistics work for idols. And so, it's almost like, you know, with Love Live. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Love Live is all about trying to hide the fact of the problems with the idol industry, right? It's showing the good side of things, which is awesome, but it's not really representing, especially considering this show is not for really kids, because this show does something that Aikatsu and Prepar don't really do as much, and that's idol pandering. The term here, idol pandering, means it appeals to the fan service and kind of sexuality that grown men want to enjoy for young girls, young high school girls, right? You have really low camera shots. You might not be showing underwear and panties, but your camera shots, the suggestiveness, the Yuri undertones, the lesbian, you know, like the Yuri undertone, which is lesbian for those of you that don't know, like lesbian undertones, just like all little, you know, you think like, okay, well, females don't really grope each other's breasts. Females don't just go romantically touching each other, and you know, maybe if you're friends, but not in the way Love Live does. Love Live just, whoo boy, especially in the second season on the anime lace. And you know, then you get those things called ships, where people ship. And anyways, point aside, you got the Yuri, that's idol pandering. Yuri undertones between the female characters, like they're all lesbians. You have the, you know, idol pandering, which is low camera shots. And again, these are these grown men. Basically, it appeals to the grown men industry. Like, look at all these low angle shots. Like, look at these innocent high school girls, which are pure because they don't date anybody, right? And so, it's you know, that's what Love Live does. And I'm not saying Love Live's bad. Love Live's great, right? I'm not saying it's a bad show. It's just, it's, when you look at it from the outside world and how people are viewing it, that's kind of the odd thing here in the idol industry, and why I continue to think it's more, it's like Love Live doesn't really address it. Idolmaster does a little bit better in that it talks about, you know, actually what the managerial side of things is. You have the producer in the show, which is the manager. Idolmaster is huge. There's way more girls in it. You know, it's more realistic that they actually have real lives, how they train, how they do stuff, and it definitely feels more refreshing. But again, it only really focuses on the good side of things, and it doesn't really get into the depth of, you know, you're not popular. It just, everybody is fantastic. It's kind of like, you know, you watch Glee. Excuse me, if you ever watch Glee, it's like, holy cow, we can sing all amazingly, you know, and all those people are fantastic singers that have been on the show, if this show's still airing, and because it's been like 7 years, Lee, I don't even know how long it's been. Anyways, but same kind of idea, right? Like, everyone's really good, you know, it's meant to appeal to fans. It's, again, the 2D world, and it kind of just shows the good side of everything, which anime always does, you know, it puts dark and edgy themes in some things, but it's not going to put that in an idol show. It's just meant to be fun, enjoyable. You sit down, slice of life, you watch it. Yay, right? Wake Up Girls kind of actually gets a little more serious into how it actually works, but a lot of people don't actually like the Wake Up Girls. So I really don't know much about it, and I can't really go into it too much, so I'm not going to really talk about that one as much. But essentially speaking, that's what it does. So, I've talked about these kids shows versus adult shows. I've talked about basically how, in my opinion, the idol industry is like prostitution. And I've told you basically what idol groups are all about. Now, I've mentioned a lot of times in this the power of, you know, friendship, the power of, you know, happiness. And this is a lot of times what lyrics in idol songs are about. Love, happiness, chasing your dreams. And this is great. Like I said, great for kids. Great even for teenagers that are really into this stuff. But what really strikes me as odd is that a lot of these idol groups are appealing to grown men. And why is it then that we need to talk about the power of friendship and the power of love? And, you know, I feel this is something that would appeal more towards female audience members or people who are younger. When you have me being 25, like, there's only people, like, let's take a 30-year-old idol fan, right, who watches, like, Love Live, a Love Live concert. And you ask yourself, why do we need to talk about friendship and love and all these idol songs when you're 30 years old? It strikes me as so odd that this is just something that, this even in anime, this is so recurring of a theme, you know, friendship. Why all this friendship and all this chat about friendship? And, what do I have here? Oh, I have a game controller. An Xbox controller. This is a USB one. Oh, I love the sound of the controller. Does any of you guys know what ASMR is? Well, if you do, I suggest watching the Bob Ross stream that's happening right now, the 8-day Bob Ross stream. Even though I was starting to watch some of his episodes recently. But this is, I like controller sounds, for those of you that know what ASMR is. ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. I'm not going to really go into what it is. It basically is like a tingling sensation you get in your brain, and people think it's a sciencey thing and gives you like orgasms. Have you ever listened to a really epic song and you get shivers sent down your spine, or you read something scary and you get shivers sent down your spine, starts in your head, your scalp, and kind of runs down your whole body? Or, you know, you get like, when somebody traces on your back and you have to guess the letters, and you go, oh, it just feels really good. That's ASMR. And some people get that with like sounds. And yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail. Sorry, I just saw this controller and I was like, oh, I love controller sounds. It's USB one, I can actually play it on the PC. Yay! Anyways, I was talking about friendship. So, friendship. It's kind of just like, why do we actually need that kind of friendship? Again, you have these grown males, usually, again, female audience members, but even regardless of gender, why are we teaching all these, you know, anime viewers about why is friendship such a recurring theme of slice of life? What is it about friendship? I wonder why. I've always been curious as to why Japanese writers write about this kind of stuff. I can understand edgy themes. I just don't really understand the friendship thing. Is it because this is a life they couldn't live? They want to just live in a really big fantasy world and have people enjoy this fantasy world about being friends and all these ridiculous situations they get into? Is it meant for just entertainment purposes? It might just be entertainment purposes. This has always been really interesting to me about why friendship is such a huge thing, you know, love and all this stuff. And again, going back to the topic about, you know, the prostitution thing with the idol industry, it's almost as if these writers, the people that write these songs, are basically warping, and this is true as well. I've talked to Japanese people about this, again, the same people I've talked to, and they say, you know, people get warped in this world. They see these innocent maidens as being pure, these young high school girls, and going into early college girls, and they're their girlfriends, they're their wives, right? Like they worship them, like they are their everyday life, and they're in love with them, and it means everything to them. And it's almost like, I'm going to tell you guys something. I met somebody in Japan when I first went there in 2013. Very nice gentleman, but he told me, this is before I even knew about idols, and I started to think about this a little more. He told me, and again, I'm going to just keep it as simple as possible, just for, you know, respect purposes. He told me about how he was basically dating somebody who was an idol. And I didn't know at the time that idols couldn't really date people. And he was talking about his girlfriend. And I noticed, like, he was never really seeing her, and he couldn't never really get a hold of her. And I felt kind of bad, because I was like, I feel like he's living in this world where he thinks he has this girlfriend, but he hasn't even talked to her about it or sat her down. And, you know, she speaks English, and he hasn't even talked to her, and, you know, actually said, like, hey, are we dating? And, you know, and not break, you know, what's the actual truth? So I don't really know if they were actually dating or not. And it just felt like he was so warped on being, I don't know, just really into it. And I feel like this is the same for the fans of the idol industry. And again, well, it is, because somebody's told me that this is true. Again, not everyone's like this, and I'm not saying don't go to a Love Live concert or don't go to an idol concert. Like, do it. It's a great industry. It's good. But all the negativity is all masked underneath. It's like kept away from the fans, kept away from the world. And it's really sad, because you see idolism and you're like, wow, it's really awesome. And it is. The KB48 concerts are great. Like, I know people have gone to them, and they're really fantastic, you know, really fantastic dancers, entertainers, and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's just, you know, what the term idol, right? Even the term itself, think about it, you know, an idol, somebody you worship. These fans worship these girls. Like, they are gods, and they're goddesses, essentially. And they have to be pure goddesses. No other tainted love. These people have to imagine that their lives, they can be with these people for the rest of their lives. There's people, you know, you get fan stuff of them. People get, you know, like, you go into a KB zone in Akihabara on the 3rd floor, and there's a fan shop where you can buy, like, fans of their faces, and you can buy, you know, you can buy body pillows of them. And it's almost like these people live in this dream world that these people are, they worship, they're idols, right? The term itself says it. And it strikes me as really odd. It's a really interesting industry, and I guess that's just what I wanted to chat about today. I really don't got anything else. I just kind of wanted to chat about idolism and how it actually should, is run. And again, these are based on what I've developed on my own for being there for over a year, and for as long as I have been in Japan, and also talking to others who know about the industry as foreigners and as real people, and as Japanese people. Sorry, and as real people, because foreigners aren't real people. No, but it's really interesting. It's very interesting. And I want to know your comments and your thoughts on this matter. So leave a comment in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. And, well guys, we will catch you in the next episode. We're going to say goodbye to our fantastic guest here today. I have the lovely Miss Momo Devaluke, whose outfit is absolutely ridiculous. But that doesn't matter. We'll put her back. And, of course, everyone's favorite, little Chino. Say bye-bye, Chino. Oh, and Tippy. You can't forget Tippy. I'll give Tippy a little hat. I'll give myself a little hat right there, see? Okay, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.